Let's learn about the spine and ribcage. The spine and ribcage are part of the axial skeleton. The spine consists of a series of bones called vertebrae. It is divided into three regions. The cervical spine consists of 7 vertebrae. The thoracic spine consists of 12 vertebrae. The lumbar spine consists of 5 vertebrae. The vertebrae are also numbered according to their position in the spine. The spine is curved. There are 4 curves. The cervical and lumbar curves are called lordoses. There is a cervical lordosis and a lumbar lordosis. The thoracic and pelvic curves are called kyphoses. So there is a thoracic kyphosis and a pelvic kyphosis. The kyphotic curves are also called primary curves because they are present from birth. The lordotic curves are called secondary curves because they develop after birth. Here are the main parts of a vertebra. There is a body that bears most of the weight. The vertebral arch consists of the pedicles and lamina. The transverse and spinous processes are sites for muscle attachments. The vertebral foramen is a space for the spinal cord. There are also a number of flat areas where other bones connect, called facets. Let's look at a few of the vertebrae in detail. The first cervical vertebra, or atlas, looks like a ring of bone. The atlas does not have a body. Here are some of the parts. The anterior tubercle, transverse process with the foramen for blood vessels. The superior articulating facets connect with the occipital bone of the skull. Here is the posterior arch. The axis, or C2, is another unique vertebra. The axis is the only vertebra that contains this process called the dens or odontoid process. The dens sits on top of the body. There is also a transverse process with the foramen and superior articulating facets that connect with the atlas. The spinous processes in the cervical spine are bifid, meaning they split into 2 parts. There are also lamina and pedicles that form an arch or space for the spinal cord. The thoracic vertebrae are different from the cervical vertebrae. They contain a larger body than the cervical vertebrae. There are also pedicles, lamina, and a spinous process. The transverse processes in the thoracic spine do not have foramen. The thoracic vertebrae contain flat areas, or facets, where ribs connect. The lumbar vertebrae are the largest vertebrae because they bear the most weight. Their structure is similar to the other vertebrae in that they have a body, pedicles, lamina, spinous and transverse processes. Structures unique to the lumbar vertebrae are the mammillary processes. The rib cage contains the ribs and sternum. There are 3 parts to the sternum: the manubrium, body, and xiphoid process. There are 3 types of ribs. Ribs 1 through 7 are true ribs that attach directly to the sternum. Ribs 8 through 10 are false ribs, where the cartilage connects to the cartilage of the true ribs. Ribs 11 and 12 are called floating ribs, where they have no connection to the sternum. The true and false ribs connect to the sternum via fibrocartilage attachments called costal cartilage. We hope you have learned something about the spine and rib cage, and see you next time.